Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, it's Claire here from Sewn by Claire, and today I'm just going to do a quick video on how to reclaim fabric from a shirt. So this is an old shirt of my husband's, still in really good condition, and what I want to do is I want to cut this up because it was going to go into the charity box because it's lost some weight, and we don't actually need it anymore, so I'm going to now recycle this. I did do a post on Instagram about this and you'd be surprised how much fabric you can use. It's a 100% cotton shirt, and it's in really good quality, so I'm sure I'll be able to use this for fabrics for a lining or what have you, but I thought I'd just show you how quick and easy it can be to reclaim the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to set my timer on my Fitbit so that I can record how long it takes to do this, and hopefully you'll agree it's worth the effort, and it's a really good stash builder as well, just for bits of fabric that you can use, especially if you do a lot of doll making or bag making, then the fabric then can be really good for linings or for small projects as well, just for gifts. So anyway, I'll stop rabbiting on and we'll get on with it. So let me just set my timer, stopwatch. Okay, so first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to take off all of the buttons, and so to do this I've just got a little recycled Tupperware pot here. I'll keep remembering hopefully to hold my shirt up so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm doing here is just using my scissors and just reclaiming all of the little buttons from here. So you get quite a few actually by the time you've done, if there's any on the collar and you've done any down the front of the shirt. This is probably the fiddliest bit to do. Maybe I'll angle the camera down when I start on the main bit of the shirt so you can see what I'm doing. I have to give you a warning, there may be some ripping involved. I don't normally like to rip fabric, but on this sometimes you can do, and it does speed things up, but again, just depends what you want to do. So there's two little spare buttons on the inside, so we're just going to get those two. Oops. Apologies if you hear any noise. I'm outside at the moment because it's a beautiful day here over in southern Spain where I live, and so I thought I'd come outside and do this. So yeah, I've got three buttons on the shirt, and these are really useful as well. I use these quite a lot I make Luna Lapping dolls, the little stuffed rabbit, and they are really useful for using on her clothes. So really quite mini, some of them are quite smaller than others. So let's get the other cuff. Okay. Oh, nearly there. I keep putting faces, sorry. I was just trying to get this sorted out. Right, okay, I'm going to tilt you down after I've done this bit so you don't need to see me, do you? You just need to see what I'm doing. Okay, so we have all of our buttons in our pot, which I've just thrown all over the table. Oh gosh. Okay, so we can knock off 20 seconds for reclaiming buttons, can't we? So what first thing that I do is cut straight across the collar. So we're just taking, I've got the collar along here with the inside, and I'm just going to take that straight off. Now I personally don't recycle the collar because I think that by the time you've finished taking the fabric away from it and all the stitching, there isn't that much usable left in it. So we have our collar to one side. Next thing that I do is cut the cuffs off. If the cuff is a double cuff, then sometimes you have enough fabric in order to reuse that, but for these ones I'm not going to bother because it's just a single cuff. And so again, I mean, if you want to, by the time, yes, because there's top stitching on these, there's usually about 3 or 4 rows of stitching, so for me it doesn't feel cost effective to just cut that off, but you may be different. Okay, next thing I do then is go down to the bottom, go to the side seam. I'm just going to cut through this side, there's little triangles on the side of the shirt, and then I'm going to strip it all the way down to the armhole. And then I go on the other side as well. And that's usually cut on straighter grain, so that comes straight off. The next thing that I do is then do a small nick at the bottom of each of the little plackets at the front. And you've guessed it, take those straight off. With a bit of waste. And some charity shops will accept this weight, these waste pieces, rather than putting it into your bin and just getting rid of it that way, you can actually put it into a textile recycling bin if you wanted to. So next thing I'm going to do then is, we've got the front and the back separated now, so I'm going to follow round the armhole stitching. So all I'm doing basically is cutting out the seams in effect, because that way then it gives you the most amount of usable fabric without having to spend your time unpicking. So there we have one full front piece of fabric. You can cut the little hem off the bottom, and I have done that on some, but on this one I think because it's not essential I'm going to leave that on for you so you can see how we do that. Let's go to the other side. The other thing that I do as well is I leave that, if there's a chest pocket, then I leave that attached at the moment as well. I don't take that off, so I'm on to take off the other front sheet, front panel. Just as far as the yoke, so I've left the pocket on there. Hopefully you can see that. Sorry for the light being a bit bright, it's difficult to get it the right way round, and I wanted to see the lovely view, not be pushed into it. And then I'm going to cut around the armhole now on the back panel. This is a big piece of fabric, this one is, for the back panel. Now my husband does take a 3X on his shirts, and he's down now to much smaller than that. And then I'm going to follow the yoke across the back, just again with the scissors, and I'm just cutting on the fabric side, single fabric side, so I'm cutting the yoke off on one side of it. Okay, I'm going to follow that armhole down as well. Oh, found a button, one of the escaped ones. Pop it in the pot. Okay, and then we have a really big back panel there that would be really useful. You could also use these for the inside of lining your bodices for you. If you have a dress, you could always have, and it's obviously a bit more of a neutral neutral print, you could use them for lining the inside of a girl's dress or a little child's dress. Okay, so we've got the yoke now, you can see that. Okay, in one piece. All I do now is go around the edges and just cut off the seam. As I say, this is all in real time, so you can just see that actually it is worth the effort because it doesn't take that long. And then just check if there's no top stitching on the back of your yoke. So obviously you need to just account for that when you're cutting off your seam otherwise. Okay, so now we have this piece here for our yoke, which can go on the pile. Put that pile over there so you can see it better. We've got a contrast one. All I do now is if there are labels, then I just snip through and cut the labels off. Okay, so now we're onto the sleeves. So I'll start down at the edge of the seam, and usually there's just one seam on a sleeve. Now this one's on the diagonal, so we can't rip this because it wouldn't rip straight because the sleeve gets wider. So I just cut that from the side seam panel up to where the armhole stitching is, and again just follow that round on the armhole stitching to take that off. This is a beautiful job to do outside when it's a lovely day. We have quite a few of those in Spain where I live as well, so that's quite nice. Okay, and then if there's any discoloration or any marks underneath the armhole, then just snip those out now. There's no point in saving those bits because you would never put that into a garment anyway, so just cut that straight out. So there's another seam taken out. And I also do cut out the placket, but if you wanted to, you could, if you haven't taken the buttons off already, you could save that for a closure on the back of the neck of a dress or something, or the front of a top if you wanted. So another nice big piece of fabric here for the sleeve where the pocket's been cut out. And then I've just got this last one to do now. So again, find the bottom where the cuff was, And I think makes it much more easier job if you were thinking that you'd got to start and save all of those seams. I mean, obviously you can if you wish to, but just to make the job bearable and easier, then I just cut round these and cut them out. And I'll pop in this video a picture of a photograph that I put. If you don't follow me on Instagram at the moment, then the picture that I put on there. So that's a bit deodorant stained, so I'll just take that bit out. So that's a little bit of seaming. I'll just take this placket out. Okay, so that's our shirt all done. So let me just stop the watch so I can see. 10 minutes. Okay, so this is our scrap here, if you can see these. These are just the seams that have been cut out in the labels. We've got 2 cuffs. You could cut that out and save a bit if you want, but for me I don't feel it's worth it. The collar and the 2 plackets that go down the front. So let's just move those out of the way. So we have a little pot of buttons that we have saved in there, which is good. This is the contrast from the inside of the collar. So if I put these over here, you might be able to see. So we've got 2 of those. We've got a sleeve here. Nice big piece of fabric there. Another one here. We've got the back of the collar again. That's a nice piece and very usable. Oops, it's blowing in the wind. Nice big piece here that's, if I hold that up against me, you know, I could easily get a top out of that for me. On the front, or on the back, say, and then use these as the front. Maybe even still reutilise the front. And I have seen some tutorials where if you leave the seaming down the front, you can actually reuse this and use the pockets on there. And then the other front. So as you can see, loads of fabric in there, and as I say, if they're good shirts and they've not been used that much, or they've still got some wear left in them, then well worth doing. If you find that they are a bit too worn, then just run around them with your overlocker and just turn them into dusters. That's a really useful thing that you can do as well. Or just donate them, and obviously the charity shops will then make some more money from them. But thank you for joining me on this sunny day in Spain. I hope you've enjoyed the view as well. You can look down towards the sea over here. But as I say, it's a nice day to get these sorts of projects out of the way. Just folding up the fabric still. And I think you'll agree it's well worth it. And just 10 minutes to take your shirt down completely from being a full shirt, it doesn't take that long really, and you've got well worth the amount of money and fabric for your other projects. So have a great day everybody. I hope the sun's shining where you are, and I'll speak to you very soon. Take care. Bye.